There is such a strong relationship that's been scientifically established now between food and health. Um, Dr. Neil Barnard, Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Joel Furman, Dr. Michael Greger have all published books and published a lot of research over decades that show that it's possible to prevent and reverse diseases, lifestyle diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, um, early stage prostate cancer, and by correlation or by a similarity, early stage breast cancer as well can be prevented and reversed. Um, and this has been proven through a whole foods plant based diet and mod, 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 moderate exercise, um, um, uh, not being stressed, being somewhat relaxed, and all, as in like how you respond to stress is the key, and sort of having love and support. He's got great books that are called Undo It, for example, is a great book that kind of talks about food and health, and also How Not to Die is also another great book, and this is also a great book, which is basically reversing diabetes through a whole foods plant based diet. So there's a very strong relationship there, and I think education is the key here. All the books I showed you are trying to educate people to eat a whole foods plant based diet, a low fat whole foods plant based diet to prevent and reverse disease. And I think that children sometimes don't get the right education, the right food education, how to grow food and how to cook healthy and tasty food. So how can you cook tasty, low fat, whole food, plant based food? That education is lacking severely, and that education should happen in schools. Ideally, it should happen in homes, but nowadays, because of um, both parents working full time, not having enough time to even come home and cook, families being independent, so food culture not being passed down. For example, in India, when you have extended families, food culture is passed down. But then when we separate into independent units and you leave home when you're very young, you don't have time to perhaps learn those food skills and cooking skills from previous generations. So the education is not happening in families, and it has to happen more in schools. And schools are the perfect place for it to where it can happen. Um, and there's all so inequality stems there when you have families where both parents have to work full-time jobs. They don't have enough time to come home and cook, as opposed to when you have perhaps only one parent working a full-time job and one parent who may be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad may be inclined to spend more time in the kitchen and cook healthy foods, and also be more healthy because they have more time available, and they have a slower pace of life. Also, urban residents who don't have that much space or land to be able to grow food are also at a disadvantage, which leads to inequality, versus people who are living in the suburbs who have backyards where they can grow food, and kids can be connected to soil, rich, healthy soil. So I think there's a very, very strong relationship between all of those, and I think if we can help, if kids are in the urban area, that's fine, and even if they don't have access to land, that's also fine. We can create school gardens, community gardens, and community and school education programs that help them learn the link between food and health. The very, very strong link. Thank you. Just to kind of summarize, I guess I've already made my point, but I think that what Food Corps is doing to help educate the next generation, to help them understand that link between food and health, and how to practically grow their own food and then cook that food in a tasty way, so it's actually appetizing. And I've taught whole food plant-based cooking classes, so I know that it's possible to eat healthy food and make it tasty. I think these practical skills are what is going to change uh, our food culture in this country and in the world, and create a new generation uh, a new generation of people who understand that link and know practically how to grow their own food and cook their own food and understand what foods are healthy and beneficial for them and which foods are not. Thank you.